jobs, likes and dislikes.
Hello, Les.
Hello.
It's very kind of you to give me some of your time.
Oh, that's all right. Now, what do you want me to tell you about?
Well, could you tell me about your job? What do you like about it?
Well, most of all, I like getting up early in the morning. If I live to be 80, I'll say it's because of the fresh air and getting up early. And having a physical job, doing physical work. Well, this means a lot to me because I've always been an active type of person.
So the early mornings don't bother you?
No, I've always been an early bird. I used to help the milkman when I was at school.
What about winter?
Well, it's a bit harder, but I still like it. Another good thing, of course, is that I finish early, so I can go to the pub for a pint at lunchtime. It's nice to look at other people going to work with their briefcases and things and think, well, I've done over half my work. I'll be finished at lunchtime. And some people think it's a boring job. Well, it's certainly repetitive, but you've got to know your area really well to sort the letters.
Yes.
People are generally very nice, but, well, there are some difficult ones. They shout at you for walking on the garden, or for not shutting the gate, or because you have shut the gate. Or they park their cars so that you can't actually get to their front door. And, of course, there's the dogs. One took the top off my finger last year, so I don't care for them very much. It's a shame, because I like dogs, really. The nice ones. But when there's one going for me, I'm terrified.
I should think so.
Something interesting is, whether you want to or not, you find out a lot about the people you're delivering to. Perhaps I've never met them, but I know who's having tax problems, who's gone away on holiday, who's having a birthday and things like that.
Thank you, Les. You really seem to enjoy your work.
I do.
Children in sport.
Hello, and welcome to today's You and Yours. On today's programme, we look at children who are trying to be champions in the world of sport and the pressures they can be under to win, win, win. Now, I spoke to Alan Baker, the former British athletics coach, and he had this to say.
Well, the problem is that you want to find these children at quite a young age to train them and motivate them as early as possible. At that age, they don't have social problems. They don't have boyfriends or girlfriends, so they give their sport the whole of their life. But they're so young that they can lose their childhood, and they're adults before they're 16. But of course, they're not adults at all. Physically, they can be quite developed, but emotionally, they're still children. Everybody's looking for the new young star of the future, because there's a lot of money to be earned.
Tennis is one of the sports where youngsters can play against their elders with more than a chance of success. In America, there are tennis schools which accept children from as young as 9. So from the age of 9, a boy or girl is playing tennis for 4 or 5 hours every day, and doing ordinary schoolwork around that. I spoke to the team manager of the English Lawn Tennis Association, Pam DeGruchy.
You see, we've already seen 2 14-year-old American girls, that's Tracy Austin and Andrea Jaeger, playing at Wimbledon. And now, both at 18, they're now already showing the pressures on their bodies and their minds. And people are beginning to question whether this is a good thing for children. A 14-year-old just can't cope with the pressures of Wimbledon. The tournament, the Wimbledon crowds, the press reporters. I say to my girls, stay at home, stay at school, do the things that teenagers like doing. If you like swimming, well, swim. If you like going to dances, just go. And if, when they're older, they'd really like to be a professional tennis player, well, they'll be a little older than the Americans, but they'll be better people for it. Of that, I'm perfectly sure.
Pam DeGruchy thinks that young players shouldn't be allowed to become professionals until the age of 17 or 18 at least. I asked her what was responsible for the pressures on the young players. Was it the money that can be earned, the parents, or perhaps the children themselves?
Oh, no, it's the parents, without a shadow of a doubt. They want to push their children. I get letters from parents saying, my little Johnny enjoys playing tennis all day, and he'd like to learn only that and be trained by a professional coach. And quite frankly, I just don't believe it.
But what about the youngsters themselves? Robert, a 100-metre and 200-metre runner, gave me an idea of his training programme and his own very simple way of avoiding trouble.
Well, I train under a coach for 3 days a week and then decide how much running to do. If I've trained hard, well, then maybe I run 5 miles, you know? If not so much, then 8 miles. Well, of course, I'd like to go to the next Olympics and represent Great Britain, and of course I'd like to win a gold. But there are lots of other things I like doing with my life too. I play in a rock group, and I'm also a keen photographer. Well, I suppose for me the most important thing is enjoyment. If you win, you're happy, and if you lose, it's the same. I mean, if you start getting upset every time you lose, I think it's time to stop.
The Sports Stars of Tomorrow.